It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
Don't shy away from risk. Now here's one that we know that most people, when you're doing the financial order of operations, by the way, moneyguy.com/resources. We have tons of free stuff that we give away, but the 9 steps of financial order of operations, they will, after you get your emergency reserves or those, basic money to keep your life out of the financial ditch, you will see that you're going to focus heavy on Roth and retirement assets. Guys, this is the type of thing that it breaks my heart when I see young people who are scared of market volatility and other things, that they just don't understand that you need that money growing.
That's right.
Take the risk while you're young. Take the risk while you have the time to recover, because when you look at risk over a long term, it gets much better, and you're actually taking on more risk by staying conservative when you're super young. And here there was a great quote that Daniel put in the notes. And I think this is what happens whether you're talking about money, whether you're talking about dating, whether you're talking about going and investing in yourself. This is a Henry Ford quote, and it's, quote, "Too many men are afraid of being fools."
I mean, that's the reason that we don't take risk, right? Is we're afraid of being wrong, of being shamed, of being made a fool because the risk we took was a bad one. Well, if we all live that way, we'd never grow. We'd never expand. If you were afraid of being a fool and starting a company and that company not working, you may have never started the firm. You may have never started podcasting. Those small little decisions can have huge long-term impacts if you're willing to take a little bit of risk.
I think there's so much to life that you have to pay attention to what's going on around you and then put yourself in the right position for success. That when you hear the term luck, because there is this whole concept, man, a lot of successful people sure are lucky. Well, the quote on that is, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity.
I love it.
And here's what I'm talking about with this, and I'll show you where I'm going with this with a very teachable concept. Is, do you live in the right place for success to happen for you? Did you study the right information? Are you surrounding yourself with the right folks to make things happen? And that led me to kind of, when I was kind of putting the show notes together on this, one of my daughter's favorite children's books kind of popped up, because when I was reading this, and by the way, I've gone so deep into this library of this. I was shocked you had not heard of this.
I had not heard of this. This must have been before or after my time and before my kids' time.
So here's the book series. It's If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. And what happens is that, it's just like the title of the book says. If you give a mouse a cookie, all the shenanigans or steps that happen from this one activity. So, because this went in, if you take a mouse to school, and there's all kind of different books. But what I love about these is it shows that one simple action can lead to a ripple effect of many, many other things happening in your life. And I thought about what's happened with us. Here's the experience share on this, is that my daughter being diagnosed with autism, this is a dark period, because you recognize my daughter's life is not going to be the same type of life. She'll probably never be able to live on her own. She's on because autism comes in many different forms. So that's something that's kind of dark, and you figure out, well, how does that help with success? So this is back to, if you give a mouse a cookie. We realized very quickly on the south side of Atlanta, hardly any therapies. It was just hard to have a lot of the occupational therapy, all the other things. There just weren't a lot of specialists on South Atlanta. So my wife was driving all over the place. We had a daughter that was a little bit older that we also needed to be thinking about. So we just made the jump, and we said, you know what? We're going to move to a different area. So there's a good public school for my oldest. There's a good specialized school for alternative learners for my youngest. There's a ton of therapies in the area. We made this jump, took this risk, and guys, it has paid off. And I know this is a weird thing, but this has paid off in ways that we never would have known. And here's why I say, when you take a mouse to school or give a mouse a cookie, because moving to Tennessee for her super expensive school, which I was worried how I was even going to pay for the tuition. I mean, this was a leap of faith, a risk that was taken. But little did I know that within a few years, we were going to be asked by a Progressive commercial to do a podcast series for over-the-road truckers, long-range truckers. And they wanted one of the videos to be, they wanted 2 videos instead of, out of the 8-part series. We didn't do videos.
We'd never done
So
it
you fed
before.
a mouse a cookie and asked, Brian and Bo to do a video, podcast. That leads to YouTube and you actually finding someone in your neighborhood that owned a camera that could record us, and then that led to us now living in Nashville or in Franklin, right, just south of Nashville, that there's tons of creatives around here that we were able to get Reby, we were able to get Nate, we were able to get Daniel, and I think that it helps with the recruiting. All of this is from that is simple concept of you push one boulder or one pebble, and then it created an avalanche of opportunity in other ways. I would tell you guys, look at that. Don't underestimate how one simple change in your behavior or one simple action could have huge ramifications in your life. And that could be whether you start investing this month, whether you decide, hey, there's just not as much opportunity in this city like I thought there would be, so you move, or maybe you figure out, hey, because of what happened with the pandemic last year and remote working, maybe I can do something. This is creating an opportunity that I can take a little bit of a risk that I had never considered before.
And now notice the tagline is don't shy away from risk. It doesn't say uncalculated risk. It doesn't say do something crazy. It doesn't say go be irresponsible. But it does suggest that if you can just do the next good thing or the next right thing, and if that thing has a little bit of risk, that's okay. And if you can make a habit of doing that, you have no idea where this life journey will take you. You just have to figure out for you, what is your cookie? What is that next cookie? Or what's the mouse going to do next? I haven't read the book, so I'm a little lost here, but I think I'm on the right path. I think the mouse does the things.
Yeah, it's good. You would like it. But I appreciate you going with me, and that didn't hit the editing floor when we were doing the content team. But